EU climate ministers are converging in Brazil to decide on the new climate targets. This in an effort to avoid going to the United Nations COP30 summit in Brazil empty-handed next week. Wildfires, heat waves and floods have disrupted life across Europe, spurring calls for more climate action in the continent. And a target from these ministers from across the 27-nation bloc in Brussels will help them secure a strong negotiating position at the United Nations Climate Summit. French Environment Minister, as she arrived for the crucial meeting in Brussels, says it will be a disaster if the EU fails to agree on their 2035 climate target.
We need to find a figure or a range that suits everyone, because don't forget that the NDC requires unanimity. And for me, the worst disaster would be if there were no NDC to present in Belém. That would be the disaster.
Ça, c'est le désastre.
A failure to reach a collective decision could undermine the European Union's claims to leadership at the COP30 talks, where European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen will meet world leaders on the 6th of November. The COP30 summit in Brazil is scheduled to take place between November 10th to the 21st. The new emission targets will test the will of major economies to keep fighting climate change despite a strong opposition from US President Donald Trump. The US decision to withdraw from the Paris Agreement and set back its climate goals has rattled Europe, whose climate vision was in part forged in partnership with the democratic administrations of US Presidents Barack Obama and Joe Biden. The United Nations warns that current national climate pledges fall short of what is needed to avoid devastating climate impacts, as they would likely limit global warming to 2.5 degrees Celsius instead of the 1.5 degrees Celsius goal outlined in the Paris Agreement. Although EU's commitments in Paris have driven investment in renewable energies and electric vehicles, the heat-trapping carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere has jumped by the highest amount on record last year. Europe is the world's fastest warming continent. It has been heating up twice as fast as other regions since the 1980s, and now the EU's long-held leadership of action on climate is under threat. The only way out is to forge new climate targets soon.